Hello friends, welcome to Akul Mac Business Channel, and in today's program we will be joined by Mr. Kevin Cotton from Portugal, and we will be discussing about a different kind of investment today. The investment that we never make, and as the wise man used to say that health is wealth, but health is something where we do not invest. Why we do not invest? Why this phenomena is a global phenomena, and what we can do to correct it? How we can take care of physical health as well as mental health. A very interesting discussion is coming up right now. So let's welcome Kevin Cotton for this important conversation. Hello, Kevin. How are you doing today? Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, Chandra. It's really always fantastic to be with Chandra.
Yes,
And
Kevin.
now,
And
Chandra, you have
yes,
you have a new background, and it's lovely.
thank you so much. I'm sitting in a good place. I'm feeling good about it, and I feel good, rejuvenated. And that is the topic of our discussion today. Health is wealth, as we speak. But in most of the professionals' mind, health is taken for granted. Do you have opinion on that?
Absolutely. I believe truly, and it came to me very, very strongly this year because of health situations. And I believe that health is an investment. We need to think of it as not only as a financial investment to invest in our health, but we also see it as an investment in this vessel that we have. And this vessel is the only thing we have is if we're going to be able to use our mind or to use our heart, we got to move. This is an investment in how we do this. And as you said, we take it for granted. We totally do. I've taken my health for granted for all my life, pretty much, I would say, is to think, okay, I keep physical, I keep strong, I keep sports, and I'm a vegetarian, so I think, okay, everything is cool. But it was very interesting when I moved to Portugal. I woke up one day and my hands, I could not move them. And I was freaked out. I thought, what has happened? What has happened? Because we need our hands to be able to move, to be able to, and it happened to be my left hand, and I'm left-handed so much. And I thought, oh, this is scary now. And so it's like we have to hit a wall in anything before we do anything about it. And so what I did was I thought, okay, what is the problem, first of all? And so I was trying to look into it and went to some osteopaths and to acupuncturists and things like this. And what I found, and which I have a problem with, is its repetitive use. So in other words, like carpal tunnel they used to talk about, it's now the whole hand is being affected. And the shoulders are being affected, and the elbows, everything is interconnected. And and I asked the doctors, and they said it's getting worse and worse and worse. And COVID was one of the worst because we were constantly on the computers and not being, ergonomically correct, is what they were saying, as we have been saying for a long time. But most of us don't even listen to it, right? So anyway, it was sad. And so anyway, I decided I need to invest. And so I found a fellow who I've known for quite some time, and he's a health body design specialist. And I used to work with him as a trainer when I was living in Brussels back in the early 2000s. Anyway, he's been following me, and he follows what I do and everything, and we've reconnected. And I said, okay, you know what? I want to invest with you because I see that you have expanded also your knowledge. It's not just in lifting weights and physical courses. It is about health. It's about the wholeness. And even when we talk about spirituality, and even we talk about a variety of things. So we set up a program. And so he has me on a variety of different superfoods, and to change my diet, and to do a variety of things, and to get my legs stronger, my arms stronger, my body stronger, because I lost a lot of weight and muscle during COVID because of really not doing an awful lot. So consequently, I thought this is an important investment. Recently, I went for lunch with friends of mine the other day, and I said, I am investing in my health. And they went, investing in your health? I said, yes, it's an investment, and you need to think of it as a tangible investment. And they said, I never thought of it that way, but it absolutely is. So anyway, I spend money. I invest money into my health now and well-being. And of course, many people have been doing this for many, many years. However, my suggestion is that we need to think about it on a very conscious level as well. So, yeah, so that's how it all started, even though I've been putting off also buying different types of health insurance. And we all talk about travel insurance. As a nomad, you need to have insurances. And I have to say, been very reluctant a lot of the time. And now as the push has come to shove, and now it's so expensive because of my age, that I totally believe that you need to have as much insurance as possible as well, as if you're going to be global. And even if you're in a country that doesn't have a lot of socialized medicine. So anyway, that's my thought at this point in time, so we can talk about it further in detail.
Well, Kevin, you are right. We must have health insurance. I mean, to cover our expenses when we need them most. However, I have a very different question. When you talk about health and you talk about, the posture-related problems and also the lifestyle-related problem, I think more than the insurance, you can correct them. For example, you can actually buy these gadgets which are not unfriendly for your hands, etc. And there could be eating habits, like you said, you're vegetarian. So, would you like to talk about those things? And apart from having the health insurance, but how can we improve our lifestyle to maintain our physical health? Would you like to share some experiences?
Sure. Some really interesting things that I have realized, and that is, first of all, many people know about meditation. And meditation is one of the things which I think it gets us to a calmer state of being, and which helps our whole being. It helps our breathing. We need to focus on the breathing. We need to allow ourselves to be able to journal, perhaps from time to time, and the reflection. We've talked about this before, is that reflection is what I call the breakfast of champions. And that goes into meditation, that goes into breathing, that goes into all of these aspects. And this is part of the investment in your health. So reflection, for example, is one of those aspects that I have with my coaching clients. I have asked, what is bothering? And they said, we don't have enough time to reflect. We don't have time to reflect. We don't have time to reflect. My question to them is what if you don't reflect? What are the hazards if you do not? And they sort of get startled and they think about it. So the coaching sessions have become more like reflective sessions for a lot of these executives and managers, and to be able to find ways forward. But that's one of the aspects. And so that's it, it's the meditation. The physical aspect, I mean, there's all sorts of physical things such as yoga. We can do it online, offline. How we do it, I prefer is a true connection, as being in a room with other yogis or people that are aficionados. And I like exercise in a group, as more, it's inspiration because people are around you. If you're doing it by yourself, it's like, digging into yourself. But it's another way. And we all have our ways of doing these things. But for me, I've done a lot of walking. And in fact, this is how I've done a lot of my meetings as well, is I call it the Milwaukee Talkie. And this is so inspirational because it is, if you do it in nature, first of all, nature is one of those zones which is neutral to all of us. When we have it in a business meeting, in an organization or whichever, there is one place that the one side is not in the neutral, they're in their comfort zone, and the other is not in their comfort zone because it's not their organization. And when you put it into nature, everyone is on a level playing field because you don't have all those other entrapments. Then there is, and also when I was this weekend, it was also interesting. It's so hot at the moment in Lisbon. I said there's a lot of hills in Lisbon, and so you walk up in the middle of the day in the heat. But when you go into a park, we found, my friend and I, as soon as we entered the park, there was this wind and this coolness, and it dropped the temperature. And this is important for us as well, is understanding that. But drinking, nature has this cooling effect on us, and also to drink a lot of water. This are the simple things that we know, but most of us do not do them. And we don't factor them into our days. For me, I factor them into my day, and I walk a lot instead of riding the bus. Sometimes I do, or the train. I don't drive a car. I don't have a car, and I don't even like sitting in a car. To tell you the truth, I get stiff. I don't move around. And if I drive, I fall asleep. It makes me so paralyzed. It's like, oh, not healthy, that for sure. But there are many apps which are amazing to be able to help you on a variety of different aspects. For example, I have one that I'm using right now. It's called Nerva, and my David, who is my body designer, he suggested it because of my IBS and my irritable bowel syndrome. All right, to be able to help that, and it's a hypnotherapy, more like, it's a lot like meditation and breathing and whichever. But it's a program which helps to focus on the gut and to be able to, and this is also a big problem for many people, is the gut, because it is also interconnected with the systems, the eating systems, and also this nerve systems. And so we need to inspire the parasympathetic nervous systems over top of the sympathetic, which is the one that goes into the stress and the fight or flight. So we have a variety of different aspects in our lives, whether it be spiritual, and that maybe people are religious in that particular sense, and that helps people. But the spirituality of finding out more important what is about yourself, and to be able to look at your life from a more important aspect, what is important, and to be able to find different ways that make us happy and allows us to be joyful. And that is an investment into itself, as to how do we do this? What are the actual aspects of our life that make us joyful, and get rid of the negative elements? I'm just on a meditation course at the moment online, and one of the thoughts is that we really need to think about our heart as gold. Our heart is the gold which gives us this life that we have, but in that is an investment in our heart, not just the physical heart, but the heart in a spiritual aspect as well. So it's really about finding, what is this vessel? How important is this vessel to you? We so often just disregard what we eat, don't eat well, eat on the fly, and I'm a culprit of that. And now I'm trying to be very scheduled because he has me on a schedule. So yeah, there's lots of different aspects that we can use, different apps, different ways to look at people. I mean, Instagram, there's so many people, and you think, well, who's the best with the best? And that, I think for that is that referrals are always important. As to how was it like working with this person? What did they do for you? What was it? And I think referrals, I've always believed referrals to be the best way forward, because there's so much information out there. How do you know which is the best? Who's the best person? And they all say they're the best. And referrals, so that and that again is an investment, is the research into that. So it's all about investing time, it's investing energy, it's investing what's important to you.
Well, Kevin, you have mentioned a couple of things which are very important. Like, for example, you said investing time, which is also investing revenue, investing money in it, because your time is equal to money. So you first have to invest time, and then you have to invest in apps, and then you have to also spend more time to check out the referrals, and then there are different ways of basically doing your health routine. Have you heard about the music therapy, and there are other form of therapy like aromatherapy? Do you believe in them? And if you do believe in them, what is your opinion on these unconventional therapeutic sessions, which are also available online?
Mm. I believe that each person has their own resonance to what works for them and which fits and feels like that balance within yourself. Music therapy, for one, I mean, if you're a music lover, that the sound of music is a very therapeutic. Different types of music are very therapeutic. I I was always involved with music because as a choreographer, I always had music around me. But you know what? I wasn't listening necessarily to music for enjoyment. I was listening to music for the focus of how do I use that music in the work that I do as a choreographer. And now, and then there was a point where I said, I don't want to listen to any more music. I've had enough of the music. And for years, I wasn't listening. I didn't have it around me. Now, I I have Spotify, which I believe Spotify is a fantastic place to be. It's so many different tracks and so many different so much music there, and I just have it often. In fact, I would have had it underneath as this, but I enjoy to have very, very much music around. I think it's very therapeutic, and it's and then aromatherapy that you talk about, or any of the other types of therapies, I believe that they also have an effect as well. There's subtler effects. Some people have dramatic effects with them, whatever that might be, physical or emotional or whichever. That they do have effects, and I think the discovery of all of these alternatives is really quite miraculous. Some work for us and some don't. So I mean, it's a choices, and the great thing that we have choices. Uh, so so I totally agree with exploring and investing time in what are those. It's about getting curious. It's like going nomading. What does it work? What works? What doesn't? I think the first point though is the decision. It's like anything, right, Chandra? Is that you need to decide where am I going to invest that. And as you said early, is investing money. I decided that, okay, how do I invest my money or how do I spend my money is the point. And what is most important. And so I thought, I have to get rid of certain spending aspects because I need to channel that into what is most important for me. So that's getting rid of stuff. You don't need to buy extra clothes. Oh, that's a pretty outfit. I don't really know. Or that's a fantastic jacket. Do I need it? No, but it's just fabulous to have. No, I mean, it's so it's so immediate that happiness sometimes goes. It's certainly investing in your health takes longer to see the results, and that takes patience. But you have to decide what's important to you in your life, right?
Absolutely. And I think what you're trying to say is not to be impulsive, not to take impulsive decisions. And that brings me to the most important question here, which is related to the mental health. Because all this while we've been talking about the physical needs and the body of requirement and different things. And you mentioned briefly earlier that there are meditations which will control the mind. And the total health is about body and soul is nothing but mind. But doing meditation is very hard. It's very difficult for a lot of people to do meditation. Do you have any other suggestion other than meditation to control your mind so that you people who are watching this program can follow those easier remedies and be happy in life?
I think the problem is that most people have the wrong impression of what is meditation. And most people come to me, oh, I cannot meditate. I cannot meditate. I cannot meditate. Why can't you meditate? Because I can't clear my mind. I can't get rid of it. I can't, it keeps on going. I said, meditation doesn't say that you have to get rid of the mind. What's going on in your mind is to slow it down, to watch it, and to be able to breathe with it. It's not about the fast ticker tape that goes back and forth, which happens for everyone. It's not about getting rid of it. Eventually, as you slow yourself down and breathe, it will become less important. And that's the whole idea of meditation, right? And then to go deeper. Breathing is the most valuable tool we can in our life to do. And most of us don't know how to breathe because we take it for granted. If we don't breathe, we don't walk. And so we just take it for granted. Breathing, most of us, because we sit so much, we don't breathe well because we're only breathing a little bit from the chest, right? And from the lungs, instead of deep breathing. And that's what's important about it, is breathing, is getting the oxygen and to get everything deeper into you so that you ground yourself. One of the other aspects in which meditation you talked about as other ways is what's called grounding. Do you know what this means, grounding?
I'm eager to know about it.
So grounding is about the interconnection between you and the universe, or to you and the ground. So in other words, you know how sometimes that people will, if there's a lightning strike, that they also put something into the ground so that it grounds it, so that it doesn't become a huge catastrophe. You have grounding. And that's what they would do with a house. It's to ground it from against electrical storms. It's the same for ourselves, is that we're energetic beings. And the land is also energetic. And so getting our feet out of shoes, and I know a lot of Indians don't wear shoes and they wear sandals and whichever, but we're still in a disconnection of that leather or that sole, either rubber, against, which is stopping the energetic flow which comes through from the earth. And then we have concrete, and then we have all of these things that are on top of it. Is I have been spending time in the ocean, just putting my feet in the ocean, and also feeling the waves, and also just walking in the sand. And yesterday I was walking in the water with my friend, and there was all these shells that were broken up, and it was just like using my feet to play with the sand, and it's like acupuncture under the feet. This is a grounding, and this is also like meditation. So watching nature is about meditation, walking in nature, but not walking with your speaking and talking all sorts. It's being silent. And no, I don't mean just walking, but I mean watching and looking at nature, touching nature, with your hands, and people say, oh, hug a tree. Yeah, why not hug a tree? I mean, it is about connection with nature then. And it is about this. So you can meditate in so many different ways. Journaling is a fantastic way of doing this. I am in the process of adding a new book to my series of books. And it is more of a reflective journal. And it's called, at the moment, the working title is Chapters, Move On, a reflective journal. So people creating their own chapters in their life as they write. It could be one sentence, it could be 6 sentences. But this is, and it will be a nudging book to help you nudge to become much more reflective, or also work on yourself as a self-improvement. But it's I believe in the totality of the body. So meditation, as you talked about, is one. But these are other aspects that you can also learn to be meditative.
Well, Kevin, when you're talking about feeling the ground grounded, I actually read somewhere that the elephants, they have the ability to feel the vibrations from 10 kilometers away, and they can feel the ground, and they can sense what is going on. And I also read that even humans had that tendency to feel the ground uh, when we were cavemen, and now we have lost it. So I think the point is very clear. What you're trying to say is that there is no single solution. There could be multiple solutions there, but I think the most important thing is to basically know exactly what works for you and what doesn't, and for that requires little bit of experimentation. And you mentioned about feeling the nature, and if you can't go in nature, you can buy a virtual reality headset and feel it.
Yeah, but it's so important to take those shoes off. I did this in a speech recently, is that I did my speech barefoot, and I asked everyone in the audience to take their shoes off, because now they were able to feel something else, and also feeling the ground, because I was talking about grounding a little bit. It's it's important for you to evolve and to breathe and to be able to get them working together, is this whole sense of being able to feel the ground. And I totally agree with you about the elephants. And, I mean, isn't that true that, for example, when they had the earthquakes in Indonesia, right, is that in Thailand, the elephants and the animals, they all left to higher ground before people, because they knew that it was happening. Something was happening. And when I was with nomadic cultures, This is exactly what they do. They watch the animals to know what's happening in nature, what's happening in the climate, what's happening in the temperature, because the animals will tell them what is going on. And they were, of course, they're so connected with nature, so they feel it. And yes, shoes have been fabulous, but shoes have also disconnected us from a lot of that nature. Do you remember when you just would run around with your shoes off all the time, and how freeing that also feels?
Yes, so shoes in a way are insulating us from the reality. So I think
It's
it was a very it is a very good conversation, and we can go on. But I think the message that you have given us today is to practice two things. One is take care of your physical health, make sure that you have enough covers, and also look at your mental health, what works for you and what doesn't. Each person can figure out, and if they need any help in figuring that out, they can reach out to you through us or directly to you. So I think it was a wonderful conversation I had with you today, Kevin.
Thank you. And may I just finish that with adding that this is an investment, and a financial, but also a spiritual and emotional and mental investment. These are investments for our well-being and for our totality of who we are. And it depends on how you want to invest. Like anything, right?
Absolutely, Kevin. Absolutely. So wonderful talking to you today, and I will catch you next week on some other profound subject. Until then, have a good time.
Great. Thanks enough, Alachandra. See you again. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Friends, we had a very interesting discussion with Kevin, and he gave us a lot of ideas how we can start investing in health, whether it is taking the insurance cover, or whether it is walking, or taking some mental health program, or downloading an app. The choices are many. Hope this conversation was useful for you. If you have any comments or suggestion, don't forget to write in. And if you want to talk to Kevin and gather more ideas about this particular aspect, do write in. The emails are given in the description below. So as always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you again in the next one.